I'll just jump in since I know your time is
Yeah,
valuable.
for being interested.
Yeah, absolutely. I have an aunt with Down syndrome, and so we've been appreciative of Special Olympics for my whole life.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to ask, first of all, what inspired you to write this book at this time in your life?
Well, I just felt like the message that, we get fulfillment and joy and happiness and, really long, deep, lasting gifts from people with, all kinds of challenges wasn't out there. I just feel like still there's too much pity in the culture, and I feel like people are looking. They're really looking for deep faith experiences, deep personal experiences of mystery and awe and wonder, and I just kind of felt like the culture needed an infusion of new ideas, that people were looking for ways to find the things that matter most, but that we weren't really getting the message that you could find them in giving yourself away. All the messages are you find these things by getting more stuff. I felt a different experience that in giving myself to people who others looked at as being undesirable, I found them to be wise and brilliant and funny and very close to the things that matter most.
Yeah, so because one thing that really, unfortunately, I just got the book sent to me. I got it yesterday, so I had to kind of jump through it some. But
yeah, okay.
Nonetheless, I'll still, I'll write the hell out of the story. Don't worry. But I just want to know that one thing that always seems to shine through with the Special Olympics, and with what I know of you and your family's work with the developmentally challenged, is that you guys place a real value on that they're not, as you said, I think a minute ago, not to be pitied. They're people that are obviously just as valuable as anyone else, but also they teach us in a different way things. I think that because of course, sometimes they can be sad like anyone else, but my experience has been that they're almost always filled with a childlike joy, and they're like giving unconditional love to you. That there's very little of the the judgment that we can put on each other. Those of us that aren't disabled in that way. Anything you can mention towards that, and then I'll get back into some specifics of the book.
Well, here's the thing. I think we tend to think of helping someone else as a duty.
Yeah.
But what I found was that being of service to someone else, being a friend to someone else who might have a vulnerability, should not be seen as a duty. It should be seen as a great joy. If you're looking in your life for fulfillment, to be a part of something bigger, to have the kind of fun that you carry with you for the rest of your life. What I found was I got those things from giving myself to others and trusting their wisdom about openness, about faith, and about peace, about finding a center. And I think that comes from people who, if on the surface, like you say, people think of someone with Down syndrome or something, well, that's too bad. Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. These are human beings with enormous gifts, just like any other group of human beings. And I really wanted this book to be about celebrating their gifts and telling the stories of how their gifts have changed my life.
Sure.
And could change the reader's life too, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the outlets that I'm going to be getting this story to are Catholic, like the Archdiocese Paper of LA, and a couple other things like that. So I wanted to ask about, because you mentioned, I know in broad terms at least, that you talk about how this impacted your faith over the years, dealing with the people that are in the Special Olympics and with your aunt and all that. And so anything you can say towards that, particularly to a Catholic market, but in general as well?
Yeah. Well, I think people come to religious experience. They come to the gospel, if you will, in the Catholic context. looking for guidance, looking for ways in which either Jesus is a particular person, as the Son of God, or the Gospels, or the Church itself, looking for ways in which the Church or the Gospel can help them live a more fulfilling and a more, if you will, profound, more religious life, right? A more faith-filled life.
Yeah.
And I think the Gospel is invaluable in that regard, right? I mean, I'm a practicing Catholic, so I love the Gospel.
Sure.
But the Gospel often tells us to, at the end of Mass, go in peace, go and serve, go and love. This book is my attempt to say, here's a way to go in peace, to go and serve, to go and love. Here are people who will welcome you to the gospel, if you will. If the gospel is all about ending the fear of difference, ending the fear of death, ending the fear of suffering, transforming all that pain and all that fear into new life, if that's what the gospel is about, and I think it is, you don't have to wait to die and go to heaven. You can walk outside the church and go right around the corner to the playing fields of Special Olympics and start kicking a soccer ball around. You'll be very close to that message, in my view.
Okay. So then, and you talk with people like Nelson Mandela and Bill Clinton in the book, and draw meaning from other spiritual texts as well as the Bible. So, what did you find was a commonality, or what inspired you to
common ground of all these things is that deep down we're all looking for experiences of unity. We're looking to end conflict in our lives. We're looking for people to value us, to see us, not to judge us. We're all looking for those things. This is the Sermon on the Mount. It's the great command of Judaism. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. This is a call to unity, to atonement, to reconciliation, to forgiveness. These are the things that are common across all these religions and really across, I think, the great even political movements. I think Gandhi believed it. I think Mandela believed. I mean, he was a politician of unity, not of power, but the power of unity. So I think we're all looking for experiences where we can feel that we matter and that we don't feel judged. I think that's what religion is trying to tell us. God is not judging you. God is loving you.
Yeah.
Stop being afraid. I think someone told me once that the most common 3 words throughout the Bible, from Genesis all the way to Revelation, the most common 3 words are "be not afraid." This book is an invitation, hopefully, to share that these experiences of service, which are too frequently dismissed as some kind of, let's say, obligation. These experiences of service are actually invitations to become less afraid of the world, less afraid of others, less afraid of judgment, and to be, in the example of so many people I've met in my life, fully alive. I mean, this is Irenaeus's call back from almost 19 centuries ago. The glory of God is not a person, spending extra time on their knees, although there's nothing wrong with that. The glory of God is not a person who lashes themselves with a whip. The glory of God is a human being fully alive, unafraid to give themselves to God with reckless love, with openness and joy and trust. If you're looking for those gifts, I don't think you're going to find them by watching Entertainment Tonight or the Kardashians or things like that. I think you're going to find them more likely find them in the special needs wing of your local, middle school.
Sure. So then one other thing I wanted to address was, because you talk about how things have changed over the past century, with where there was a terrible treatment at one point of especially the mentally challenged, where with the forced sterilization, things like that, and then now we have learned to treat people with much greater respect. But I don't know if you mind. If this isn't something you want to talk about, I'll leave it out altogether. I won't even say no comment. But an issue that you probably are aware of is that, like you tell a story about convincing a parent of a Down syndrome person who was desperate and was thinking, "Oh no, should I kill the child?" And then the guy wound up fully loving his child through you guys' intervention and work and all that. But with it comes up in the news sometimes that people are these days seem to be to some degree when they find out a baby has Down syndrome or while still in the womb, they some people are opting to
terminate.
And you know, obviously that's
what I can say. No, I don't mind
Sure.
taking on the issue. I think
Sure.
I think the reason, and I mentioned that issue in the book, so
okay.
I'm not afraid of it. I
Gotcha.
think, look, I think the reason people are terminating these pregnancies is because they're afraid that their child will be hopeless, a burden, and a liability. This book is not about what the law ought to be. It's where your heart ought to be. And I want prospective parents to know what I've learned from so many parents who have children with Down syndrome, that their children are a joy, that they are full of life, that they often give more life to parents than their non-disabled children, give more happiness. So, this is why stigma is such an important thing. It's not just nice to change your language from calling somebody a retard to something else. It's not just nice to stop making fun of people who have intellectual disabilities. It's life and death, because to the extent we continue humiliating and mocking and making fun of those who have differences, we perpetuate the terrifying fear that, if that kind of a person came into our lives, that our lives would be destroyed. And that's what's motivating so many parents, I think, to terminate these pregnancies. They don't know. They don't understand, and they've been told a lie. They've been told the lie that this child will ruin their lives, that this child has no value, that this child is a liability. I want this book to be part of the larger conversation, that whatever you decide, wherever you live, whatever your the law is, whatever your faith is, whatever you decide, I want you to know that all over the world, people with these kinds of disabilities are living full, productive, and incredibly powerful and important lives.
Wow, man, that's awesome. So I just have two more questions, if I may. Do you have time?
Yep.
Okay, what would you say is the most surprising thing that you learned from the course of working on this book and talking to all these people? Because I mean, you grew up around this, and you've obviously been in charge of the Special Olympics. So, was there anything that was most surprising to you from working on this?
Well, I guess I just felt like I just everywhere I turned to talk to people, I heard stories, that were so full of happiness. And I think if someone sees this book and they hear about, disability, they're going to think, oh, that's going to be a downer, or that's going to be sad, or that's going to be tragic, or, whatever. And I hope, there's a lot of painful moments in this book, but in the end of the day, I hope people will agree with me that, if we're looking for more happiness in life, this is a story of people who live incredibly happy and fulfilling lives, people who face terminal illness with happiness, people who face, the judgment of others with great happiness, mothers and fathers who face enormous adversity in their cultures, and yet live with great happiness, with gigantic smiles, with joy. Talk about the Christmas season. I mean, you want to give a gift at Christmas that captures the spirit of joy. I mean, I hope you'll consider this book, because in the end of the day, I think people put it down and they just take a deep breath, the ones that have read it, and go, wow, I have a full life ahead of me. These people are really inspiring me to recognize that, joy to the world is not a song. It's a way of living. Yeah. Maybe that's the headline.
That's cool. And then I have one question that's a little offbeat, but hopefully you'll get a kick out of it. Because I think I could get you some coverage in some film things as a result of, if I can throw this question at you, is that I'm a reporter, but I also have a lot to do with in the comedy world, and the Farrelly brothers, they produced The Ringer about 10 years ago, and I got to say that was mind blowing to me how they pulled that off, and that you guys, that I thought it was really beautiful. I mean, funny as hell, but beautiful movie. By the end of it, you really get the